first of all, I just want to welcome everybody. Beth and I both are just so thrilled to have you all here. And we are recording this, so we'll send you the recording after if you missed something, forgot something, or want to cover something again. So you'll get the recording. You hopefully downloaded and printed your handout, because we're going to, we really want to put pen to paper. Thank you, Beth. We really want to.
Vanna.
Yeah.
If you have your handout handy, you can follow along.
Because the deal is, when we put pen to paper and we write things down, what it does to our subconscious brain is it makes it more important to us. And so it continues to sort of be like a picture that keeps popping up. And so there's power in pen to paper. So we really invite you to make a few notes, and we'll ask you to make a few commitments, and we'll ask you to do a little, it won't be like a total, inner child rebirthing exercise.
Oh, good. I've already done that.
You don't, yeah, it's not too deep. Not too deep today.
Just
we've had enough deep for 2020.
Too much crying.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, so about, what is it now, Beth, 3 or 4 years ago now, we started collaborating.
I know.
So both Beth and I have been, speakers and trainers and coaches. Well, I'm not a coach, but Beth is. For me, it's almost my 30th year of being on stages and writing in this business. Love the business. It has been incredible, interesting. And I've always felt pretty confident in doing what I do. And anyway, about 3 years ago, Beth and I said, well, why don't we try something together? I had never collaborated in it. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know if I actually wanted. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy, but I didn't
want to.
I didn't want to. And I don't know why. Fear, letting go of stuff, which is so ridiculous, but but in the moment. Anyways, we started collaborating, and what we have found, I think I'm speaking for both of us, but Beth, you can chime in, is that in collaboration, there's company. When you're a solopreneur, as both of us are, there's company, and it's not quite as lonely being in business by yourself. And there's laughter, tons of laughter, and tears, and difficult conversations, and creativity, and ideas, and lots of hikes, and lots of cheers with lots of wine. But so we started this program called the Alive Revolution, 3 years ago now. Created a whole online course, and when our businesses collapsed on the 13th of February, that's the last time the both of us spoke together, to a dental conference, by the way. So Christopher, you'd be interested in that. We said, okay, now what? And for me, it took me until, and so, just truthfully, because we're going to get a snapshot of where you're at right away. For me, it took me till about middle of August to get my head out of my arse. I was dark. I was in a real not great spot, because I'd lost my career. I'd lost my income. I've always made my own money, and I completely lost my identity. And so it's been a really interesting journey to go, okay, speaking on stages can't just be the only thing about myself. And anywho, so switching over to being virtual has been a very interesting, and sort of dug our feet in for a bit, and then said, okay, we got to do something else. We got to get creative here, because that's certainly what has fed my soul, and I needed to get creative again. So we wanted to wrap up this year with y'all well, first of all, we probably should just take, a piece of paper and write 2020 on it and just burn it. I think that ceremony,
exactly.
That ceremony, I think, is what we have to do on New Year's Eve, even though we're all by ourselves burning it. But and I also want to recognize, because I know that on the call, we have people from the US on this call. We have people from across Canada on the call, and just welcome. It's just really cool. So if you have your handout, anything, Beth, you want to say just for the intro?
No, just it's just really great to have people here. And, that's what we wanted. I mean, obviously we want to give some value today. We want to give some laughter today, some joy, but also maybe help you, like us, how do we tie a bow on this crazy year? So that's our goal today.
And our goal through the whole Alive Revolution was to move from being fine, thank you, and oh my God, I'm so busy, to feeling more alive, and feeling more alive physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And the processes and the little exercises we will walk you through today, you can do all of them, you can do none of them, totally, you can choose.
You're a grown-up adult.
You're a grown-ass adult.
Grown-ass adult. You can
Do what
do
you want.
something or not.
Now, just to make a point about the outfits, and then we'll dig into the material. So what I'm wearing is a little. It's pajamas actually. It's too hot to handle, but hopefully you can see this. Can you see? Oh my God, that's my leggings.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know we were doing the show and tell. So look at
Your
check
slippers.
because 2020 has really been like, let's be honest, doing things half-assed, right? Especially Zooming, where we're cute on the top, but then loose on the bottom. Well, today I went full ass. Ready? Look. Oh, look.
Nice.
Full ass today.
Don't be a half-ass jingler. Be a full-ass jingler.
That's right. Okay, take it away, Linda May.
All right. So I spoke to a group of healthcare workers in Hamilton last December, and they said when they sent me the information, it's festive. Everybody's coming in festive wear, and I literally wore this top and those leggings. And what they meant by festive wear is that everybody there was dressed up in sparkly, fancy dresses, and
they meant like Christmas formal.
Christmas
Oh
formal.
my gosh.
And she went with her Jingle Bell light up sweater.
Yeah. Anyways, so we got some things to do before Christmas Eve. I think to really honor 2020 and not just freaking hate it, we need to actually do a few things so we can say, yes, we tied a bow around it. And what I want to hear from you right now is I want to, do a quick pulse check. What's one thing we could do for you today? Because honestly, I
put it right in the chat, bottom of the screen.
What's one thing that you really would love to just get out of this today? And we're going to do our darndest to produce. And if we have to throw every slide we've done out, well, I just went to a conference for speakers, and they said, I dare you, throw every slide out. So I want to hear. Let's have a quick look in the chat. Now, do you all know where the chat is? Probably says
I
chat.
found it.
Yeah. So what's one thing that you want to get out of this? There must be a reason you signed up other than to see our outfits.
Feel valued. Steps to shift. If I feel
Step to shift. I feel isolated or down.
Okay.
I want to feel valued. Oh, awesome.
Okay.
So good. So happy to see you, Angelica. Ange, you sign up to everything we do, and it's just such a joy. Steps to shift if I feel isolated. Okay. I want to feel happy. Okay, Laura, great. Get focused. Nice.
That, yeah.
How do we connect better on Zoom? Okay, great. To get re-energized. Beautiful. Start next year with focus. Excellent. Okay, we can keep one slide for sure then, thanks to Tammy. Purposeful. Clarity about a few different ideas I'm working on. Excellent. Okay, Arlene wants some energy too. Okay. So good. Okay.
This has to be about you. We don't want to just download and fire hose a whole bunch of information, even though we're going to do that. So I'm totally lying to you.
Well, we do kind of
want to download. And
we do have a penchant for fire hosing, but we'll try not to.
All right. So what would you do if you didn't know you couldn't? First question I want you to think about. What would you do? So for those of you who are in your head a lot, Christopher, dentists they tend to be. But there are also other people in this call that are in their head a lot. Don't get in your head. What would you do? Just off the cuff, what would you do if you didn't know you couldn't?
I don't understand that question. Maybe it's the wording.
No, it's not. It's actually, it's deep. So I get it. So what would you do if you didn't have fear?
Okay, that's helpful.
Maybe give your answer to that question, Linda. That might help.
When I've said this to other people before, and my husband knows this, so I can say it. When I first heard the question, I said, this is about 1.5 years ago. When I first heard the question, I said, and I've been married with my husband for 35 years. I said, I think I like to be single again. Because I felt at the time, no, I mean it. I felt, and it's not that I don't love my husband. It's just that I just felt like I had really lost who I was. Like, where did I go? And I felt like I needed to figure out, who I was. And I was, just approaching 60. And so that's literally what I said. What right now, if you ask me what right now, the answer would be I would get in my retro trailer. Both Beth and I just bought retro trailers this fall. And if there was no COVID, I would get in my trailer and I would just drive and probably southern US because the weather's nice there and just go explore by myself or with other women we belong to a little group called Sisters on the Fly. And it's all
A
about
trailer group.
trailer girl group. That's what I would do. So that's, if I didn't have something, but there's this, but there's that.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do if you didn't know you couldn't? Now, the other reason I have this picture of this hot air balloon in the picture is that I used to say, I want you to stay because we're doing this workshop. It's 2 hours. We're going to take a break in the middle, but I want you to stay at the 30,000 foot level of your life right now. I don't want you to get into the, but what I've got to do this after this after that. Then I got to go to this meeting. And then I want you to stay in the what's possible zone. But because air travel is not the safest travel these days, I thought, well, if you're in a hot air balloon, at least you're outdoors. It's probably safer. So stay at the 10,000 foot level right now of the what's possible for you. I want you to stay curious through the whole 2 hours. I want you to notice what you notice, meaning that if I say something or we've already said something, we think we've said arse or something else, we've already sworn. So if that offends you, don't just respond to that. I want you just to go, get curious with yourself. Why is that bugging me? So notice what you notice. And when because truthfully, our own resilience requires that we stay curious. Don't just respond, get curious with yourself. Because when we go to judgment, and ladies, I know there's a few men on the call, but ladies, we're experts at this. When we go to judgment, who are we actually judging? When we're judging other people, who are we actually judging?
Ourselves?
Yes, we are. It is one of the harshest things we do to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's really harsh. So because when we project onto somebody else, we're really actually reflecting back to ourselves. So if you can catch yourself in judgment and go, why did that just push my button? That's a curiosity. You start to become a lot kinder to yourself. And you'll see that kindness thread is going to go through the whole workshop, because we are beating the crap out of ourselves. We have lots of coulda, shoulda, wouldas, low patience, low tempers, all that, and a bag of chips. We're in the middle of this crazy freaking ride right now. And, like I said, it took me until August to start doing what I've been teaching for 30 years. Right? So I want you to stay at the 10,000 foot level, what's possible for the whole class. And if you find yourself getting into the minutia or the detail, just go,
Get back in the hot air balloon.
Get back in the hot air balloon. Exactly. All right. All right. In the chat box, if you could describe yourself, how you're feeling these days using one of these words, maybe two. I want you to this is what I call a pulse check. Where people are at, I want you to put it in the chat, please.
Okay, here they come. Isolated. Yeah. Arlene, hear ya. Bored.
Yep. Bored and eating.
Right. Tired. Yeah. Bored. Exhausted and frustrated. Well, inspired now, but it was a rough up-down year. Yeah. Grounded. Better storyteller. Worried, uninspired. Bored, fat, drunk. Oh my God. Marianne, we love you so much.
I'm with you, sister. That's why I'm wearing pants with no button up.
Yeah. Content with an edge. Grounded. Okay. Yes, You're right. 2020 has been both. You're right.
It has to have been both, or we've really lost.
Also tired.
Yeah.
Susan. Yeah. Okay.
So
beautiful.
And first of all, thank you for being vulnerable, because honestly, at my age, I'm incapable of bullshit anymore. So I just really love, let's get to the point. Like, let's just be who we are. Misunderstood by others who react to darkness is killing me. Yeah. We just need to just acknowledge, because part of, sort of bouncing back is acknowledging it's okay to not be okay. It's really okay to not be okay. I heard a great speaker at the CAPS conference I just attended earlier this week. And she said, and she's a psychologist. She goes, I went 4 weeks of every day eating ice cream for breakfast. And I let my 4-year-old do the same thing. So she
Wow.
said, she goes, I'm not saying you need 4 weeks. She goes, if you want to eat ice cream for breakfast, eat it for a week.
Not 4.
Not 4.
Or 4 months.
Because we need, in order for us to start to bounce back, as that's what this workshop's about, is how do we start to bounce back?
Worried about my life.
We need to set some boundaries. So it's okay to not be okay for a week, or 2 weeks, but you set the boundary, and then you do something to get out of it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So literally every day, it's coffee to wine, or it's wine to wine, or what
Ice cream to wine.
Yeah. What gets washed more, the coffee cup or the wine glass? And they seem to be right now piled up in my kitchen sink because I didn't get to them last night. Coffee cups and wine glasses. That's it. Just need some humor. So speaking of humor, because being alive.
There's my socks. There's my tights.
Yes. Being alive for us is laughter. And laughter is one of the best cures for resiliency, for being exhausted. And laughter is the most appropriate thing to do, even in the most inappropriate times. It is the best bridge into healing. We need to simply laugh more. So if you're feeling like, my gosh, you've had a tough day, a tough week, a tough year, don't be watching the news anymore. Like, you got to really dial in some humor. So every year, Beth and I host, we call it the staff meeting for people who don't have staff. And it's a luncheon, usually happens in December, and it's a dress-up contest. And I was so tired of every year, all the ladies are showing up as sexy Santa's helper, that I found this towel and this thing. And I said, okay, if I'm gonna wear this to my luncheon dinner at the
Oaken Crew.
This
is downtown Kelowna at the Grand.
Oh my God.
Like, we're a spectacle when we show up. Spectacle, which is how we want it.
Nice.
And I even was late, and I was still first there, so I had to sit there and just I had to just bring it. Anyways, so let's just say this year I won. Okay,
You
so
won.
I won that year, hands down.
Rude, yeah.
The next year, Beth said, "Screw that." She went to Cindy Lou Who, and Beth won.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cute.
Yep. Then I said, okay. Then the next year, Beth went as Julie Andrews, and I went as that, which is nothing. But we always.
This makes me so mad. I even sang all the songs from The Sound of Music.
But
Full on trap. I brought it.
But we always let our waitress or waiter do the voting. Who's got the best costume? And our waitress had never heard of Julie Andrews nor The Sound of Music. So I always say, you need to play to your crowd, okay?
Yeah.
And I won again.
Because her boobs lit up. She had. I was so mad.
Bring in the joy. So last year I said, let's do a theme. Let's do a snow princess theme. And this was us at the, where were we?
Downtown at
Cactus Club.
Yeah, Cactus Club.
Cactus Club. And you can see there's a variety of snow princesses. Crystal's on this call, she's there. And Beth and I and Vicky's there, literally in a bikini. And she's like 65, the lady that's in front with the big hat on. But again, I won.
She wore skates. Oh, and it was a tie. We had to bring the chef. We both, Linda and I, got equal amount of votes. I thought, I'm winning. Like, I made my crown myself with my glue gun. I'm thinking, I'm winning this year. And the chef comes out from the kitchen to break the tie. And the skates, it was the skates. Rude. Okay, anyway.
All right, on to some meat.
Okay, yeah, on to some meat. Anyways, okay, so year in review. Okay, I'm just looking what Tammy wrote. Oh, yes. Okay, so beautiful. So Tammy, you were doing the perfect segue into this next piece. So the year in review, and I know this year has been the craziest year maybe most of us have had in a long time. All those baby boomers are like, whatever, we've lived through the war, the Spanish flu, like they're like, get over it, yeah, we aren't whiners. But for us, some of us, it's been really, really tough. And so it's easy sometimes when it's tough to really focus on the not so good. Like, oh my God, this year and all the bad things that are rolling around in your head that didn't happen or got canceled or didn't quite work out the way you'd hoped. And, you know, and other people have had a banner year. I shouldn't say everyone's had a bad year. Lots of people have had an amazing year. So whatever year you have had, this is what we invite you into. So if you want, you can look at this is a handout section. If you want to follow along the live year in review, this is where we're at in the program. And, oh, I just realized that's so excited. I lost my earbuds. Okay. I'm trying to advance. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the first thing you do is, what were my wins? Right? This is the first thing you want to answer. What were my wins? So these are things you're actually, like you're proud of, or really brought you joy, something you accomplished, something you did that you thought you couldn't. Maybe it's a pivot, maybe something you shifted, maybe it's something you learned this year. Like I joined the ranks of sourdough bakers, for example. Made a lot of sourdough. I put that on my win, that I've always wanted to learn how to make that, and I did. So what are you proud of? And even just right now, if you feel inspired, throw something in the chat that you're really proud of. What was a win for you this year? What was the win? I'm going to put that in. So if you got your wins, right? Linda, what was a win for you?
I grew gourds last summer, and this year I started carving gourds. So I made little illuminated gourd.
Okay, look, see your
lamps.
Oh, her gourds are amazing. Okay, planted a garden. I played board games. Yes, Chris likes the family time. Wants to Instagram. Slow down without guilt. I helped my daughter with her twins. See, beautiful, beautiful. That's exactly it. So you can keep going, you know, at your own pace, but list lots. List it, like, you'd be surprised how many things. You stay committed to your health. Way to go, Natasha. Beautiful. Became a better cook. Oh my God, lost 23 pounds.
Whoa.
Pretty sure when I put on my pencil skirt this morning that goes with this outfit, did not lose 23 pounds this year. KonMari. Oh yes, you got organized. See? Okay, and then Laura learned something new in tech. Started exercising with my wife and daughter. Oh my God, see? Fantastic, fantastic wins.
Anybody like me, I learned how to live on a lot less money than I used to.
Right?
Like,
there's a great win.
Seriously. So that actually was the best lesson for me, to figure out when I can actually retire and what it's going to take.
Right? Yeah. So that's good. Okay. So, you know, in this sort of formula that we're going on, you know, what were my wins? It's really important. It's important to focus on what was good. And now you think the opposite of that is, okay, what were my losses, right? But no, we don't want you to write what your losses are. We want you to write what your learns are. Okay, how do I know I can forward, but I can't. Oh, there we go. Okay. So then the next thing is, what were your learns? Were you messing with the slide, or did I not do it? Hands up. Okay, so what were your learns, right? So these are things that you kind of go in, oh my gosh, what were my learns? Because sometimes when we quote unquote lose, we actually learn a lot. When something is challenging us, we actually learn a lot. So maybe something unraveled for you in your business. What did you learn? Maybe something unraveled for you in your relationships. What did you learn? Maybe something unraveled for you in your health. What did you learn? There's so many beautiful things. When you had space in your calendar, like I did, what did I learn? Right? See, Shelley, you had closure on a relationship of a long time separation.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys are so beautiful. Thank you for your vulnerability, right? You learn to be better focused on your health and nutrition. Yes, I got rid of all my debt. Fantastic.
Oh, so did I. I forgot about that.
Put it all in. That's why we have
Yeah.
this big long list, so you can actually fill it out. So you can have lots of things. Embracing tech, right? Like so many people learn Zoom. Like it's interesting because I was on the Zoom platform years ago. I did an international coaching program mentorship for a year with another colleague of mine. And this is in 2015, and we use Zoom. it was the first time for me learning Zoom. And so, but you know, for this year, like 800 bazillion new users signed up for Zoom this year. And I certainly learned a few new Zoom things.
One of the comments that came out of the CAPS conference was that because it's all speakers trying to learn how to do virtual, is that we have, meaning everybody, we have done a technology, like a 10-year technology download in 8 months. What would have normally taken most of us who wouldn't have embraced it, forced into it, which has caused, you know, good and bad.
For sure. Oh yeah, and see, Arlene, I enjoy working from home. And like, how many people learned they could do their work from home? They don't have to go to office. So it'll be interesting for me. I'm really curious about 2021 of how many offices that used to be packed full of people in their cubicles will now continue to allow people to work from home if they choose. Yeah. That's going to be an interesting, right? I learned to understand the importance of environment around as what we can do for the next generation. I
think it'll be a hybrid.
Right? Okay. So that's kind of what you want to do, is this sort of think this, oh, here's Crystal, love the new pace, slow down of life and rebalancing. Yes. Not just our own lives, but globally, right? Our oceans and rivers and forests and all the things that have actually gotten a bit of a break this year. So cool. Okay. More about myself, my strengths and my weaknesses. See? Beautiful. So that's what this exercise is. So we don't focus on the loss, the learns, or the wins. All right, great work. So you glean all those gems, and that's what we want to do. Is all of this is going to position you for casting your vision for 2021. Okay, so that's it. And we're back to this idea, you know, Linda made this great point a few minutes ago around curiosity. So sometimes when we're doing these exercises, and we have a few more coming in the next little while, our time together, and you know, it's so easy to go to judgment. And this next exercise that's coming up is one that can trigger some judginess. So we just want you to stay in that curiosity. We want you to notice, learn, note, repeat. Okay. So Linda May, over to you.
Let's do a quick snapshot. In the handout, the Live Essentials handout, you're going to fill in the blanks here.
Okay.
And we're going to rate yourselves in 4 areas of your life. We call them the 4 Live Essentials. We also have, by the way, which you can download later, is a full assessment. We call it an Alive audit, and it's much more robust. And we also have an Alive workplace audit that if any of you have work teams that you may want to use this with, it would be a great launch pad for your team. If you all filled out the workplace audit, and then a place to start a conversation for 2021 of where you want to go in your teams. But anyways, for now and for this place, we're going to do a smaller snapshot in 4 categories of your life. You're going to rate each of these out of 10. And we're going to start up in the top left corner, which is relationships, all of them. The ones that are significant for you. So, you know, family, good friends, co-workers, you know, don't worry about the neighbor you're fighting with if you don't really have a relationship with them. And I get it that probably some of your relationships are rocking it and some of your relationships aren't rocking it. And so, but in all that, give yourself a rating between out of 10 for relationships. Okay. And if you're curious about, you know, if you want to win in the longevity department of our lives, whoever lives the longest, lots of studies, lots of Harvard studies around this, all the blue zone people on the planet, the key thing in their lives is the people that they surround themselves with, that they have relationships that they actually maintain, because relationships don't maintain themselves. So you have to actually put some time and energy into them. So give yourself a rating. Moving across on the top to the person walking down a boardwalk, physical activity. How I want you to rate yourself here is, are you consistently physically active throughout the year? Okay, so give yourself a rating. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a golfer or a gardener or a walker or a hiker or a marathoner or a Iron Woman, Crystal Flaman. There's an Iron Woman on the call. There probably maybe some other triathletes on the call.
Yeah, we know that this quadrant for Crystal is very high.
Yes.
Some of us are on the lower end of physical activity where we're just going from the couch to the fridge.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? And here's I'll give you just an example of myself. I have been 10 out of 10 in this area for lots of parts of my life. It's been a soapbox I have stood on for pretty much all of my life because that's the degree I got. But I'll tell you, in the last 7 months, I'm not winning in this quadrant. And so don't go, oh, I've fallen off the wagon.
Don't judge.
Stop that languaging. I always say, okay, and start again. Okay, just get the mindset, just start again. So, but give yourself a rating where you're at right now. Down on the bottom left corner is our careers. Do you love them? If you're retired, I guess you can just rate you're retired, give yourself a rating around this, because our workplaces and what we do for a living is a place where we spend over 2/3 of our life. Many, many, many years we'll spend on the job, so to speak. And so is your job stressing you? Is it, where are you at right now? Remember, this is a snapshot. We're December 2020. Where are you at with your career? Is it challenging you? Is it exciting to you? Do you see yourself pushing? What's happening in that quadrant for you? And then moving to the bottom right, it says mindfulness, spirituality, however you want to use the term. But do you take any time, and it should be in a day, but I'll let you have a week, just getting quiet enough to hear yourself think. Whether you do that in prayer or meditation or going for a walk in nature or you're soaking in your tub, but just some reflective, mindful time. Again, could be in gratitude. It could be in, like I say, meditative practice. Okay, so give yourself a rating under mindfulness. Now, what we'd like you to do in the chat right now is to add those up. Use your phone if you have to, but add those up and give us your number. And then we'll tell you sort of where people fall. Can you read those, Beth?
Yeah. Okay. 25. Yep. 21, 20, 27, 20, 26. Woo, 34, Chris. 33, Natasha. 30, Marianne.
Marianne, 33.
Oh, Natasha's 33, Marianne's 30, Shelly's 30. There's some high numbers.
Yep.
And really over 22 is high.
It is. So if
explain.
Yes, I'll explain this. If you scored, and you don't want to put your number on, if you feel like your score is really low, like 0 to 10 to 15, somewhere in there, don't worry. The average across the board, across every profession, every association, every age, every income bracket. Well, no, I'll caveat that. Averages are 18 to 21. That's averages. That's everybody.
Yeah.
And so if you're scored low, what you feel is low, basically you're probably doing well in one area and 3 of them need some time and attention. That's, there's, I don't know, you might have a 1 in one area but you already knew this information. This is not news to you. You knew that you weren't doing something in that area of your life, right? If you scored in the averages, that 15 to 25 area, you're probably middle ground in most of these, and maybe 1 is really low. Okay.
Yeah.
People who score, well, say 30 and above, people who score 30 and above is not a ton of people, but people who do score 30 and above live their lives very intentionally. They are very aware, self-aware, and they're aware on a high level of sort of what's happening around them. But when I say they live intentionally, Beth will refocus on this a couple of times. We call these habits for resilience. They're just consistent, small practices and processes that make our efforts meaningful. So we choose to respond to our life versus react to it. Before their feet hit the ground in the morning, they know how they're going to start their day. This is people who score high. They know how they're going to start their day to set themselves up. And Angie, I know she's on this call. She said this was one of the things that she did when she took our live course way back when.
Yeah.
Really switched for her. She gave herself 10 minutes to just do what she needed to do in the morning to set herself up. That could be that, yes, maybe you read something that's just inspiring, or something where you learn. You maybe just meditated. Maybe you just sat with a great cup of coffee and just looked out the window and pondered. It could be you gone for a walk with your dog, or you moved your body, whatever it is for you, but it actually allows you to just set the day versus doing what I call the racquetball game of our life, meaning you get out of bed, you just start swinging the racket and you just respond, jump in the shower, and then you get a thing and you grab it and you're in the car and wherever. Well, okay, you're just walking out the hallway down to your kitchen and then maybe to the dining room, but we used to drive. And they also bookend their day. So they have some way of unwinding, okay? Those are practices that take practice. But they also have some processes that they will use during the day if the caca hits the fan, which it does for all of us. And so they know how to deal with life when it hits. We screw something up, we yell at our kids because our patience is just done. Yell at your whatever. We know what we're like when things happen, that just because our fuses are very short, and our guard to allow stuff in. Like I can't watch a whole lot of negative stuff right now because I just don't have the shield like I normally do to bounce that stuff off of me. Meaning that I know who to call. Mostly I call Beth or talk to Kevin or my kids, things that I know what I need to do in order to get out of being a turtle. Because what I do when I'm super stressed or if I've screwed up, I retract, I withdraw. I don't know how you respond. Some of us lash out. I completely withdraw. You don't hear from me for a while. And I just go into this, I go to the dark. I'll be honest with you, I go to the dark side. And because I have, worked with and dealt with my own personal depression in most of my adult years. And so I know that when I'm there, and it takes a fair bit of energy and usually a good knowing friend to say, okay, what the heck's going on? Right. Yeah. So that's a process.
Get out of the house.
Get out.
Yeah.
So people who score high in this particular, and if you're curious to do the whole robust audit for yourself, people who score high in that live very intentionally, like I said. Now, I did say there's a caveat around the money thing. So a few years ago, I spoke at an entrepreneurs organization, people who own businesses. Money's not really the issue. There's lots of other things going on. Their averages were like 35 out of 100, 35 to 40, really not great. But the money part was no problem. But everything else fell off right? So but for us average folks who are, middle class earners kind of thing, we tend to sort of fall in the middle. All right, Bethy Boo.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so this is the last, what I would call kind of work. The second half of our little thing we've planned for you today is a lot lighter. So just in case you're feeling like, whoa, already getting a lot of scoops of ice cream, as we say in the coaching world, if you got a lot of content, this last little thing we're going to do before we take a wee break. So, before I was a speaker, I was a coach, and I'm still a coach at heart. And so we couldn't kind of put this together without really helping offer one little tool that I think really is so useful if you have any problems. So does anyone besides me on this call have any problems they'd like to solve? Just wondering. There's just any challenges at all that you're like, what am I going to do about this situation? Right. And so this is what I do this with all my private clients. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Shelley, for not letting me be by myself there on the problem. And, but yeah, so if you have any problems, so even right now, just think of, could be a wee challenge. Oh, thank you, Tammy. It might be a wee challenge. It might be a ginormous, big weight on your shoulder, but I want you right now, you don't have to put it in the chat. This is just for you. It's just think of the problem that you're trying to solve right now. Okay. Think of the problem as we work through this little cool process that we're going to show you. Okay. Everybody got a problem or a pickle? Okay. All right. I'm trying to advance. There we go. Okay. So this is in your handout, which I don't know where my little photocopy of that one is. I can't demonstrate, but it's in your handout. If you have that little, the 4 realms. Thank you, Linda. There we go. I don't know where that one didn't print off on my. Okay, so you have the 4 realms. So this is usually how we solve problems. We go to that first realm, the P, which stands for physical. And we physically go, what can I do about it? right? What action can I physically do about it? So, for example, I need more money. Okay, I'm going to try to, drum up some business. I'm physically going to call some people and say, do you need my help? There's one, example of what I'm 20 pounds overweight. Okay, what can I do about it? I'm going to get outside. I'm going to start moving, that kind of thing. So is there something, so just consider in your own head, when you think at the problem or pickle that you're struggling with right now, is there something you can do about it? Right? And sometimes there isn't, by the way. Sometimes there isn't, right? It's not obvious. You're like, I don't know, it's happening to me, right? Like COVID. What can we do about COVID? Right? Or something. We'll see. So, okay. So then you have what you can do about it. Then, but sometimes that doesn't create clarity for you. So then we can look to the I realm, right? Anybody have any ideas what the I might stand for? What would the I be? Ooh, I'm going to bring up the chat. Think, what could the I, okay, now I can't, inspiration. That is a good one. That's a good I, but it's a place that we can go, but I like the inspiration, but it's actually the intellectual realm. So sometimes you want to think, okay, what do I, is there something I can learn about this? Is there some research I can do? Is there something I can, a new way of approaching this? What could I learn about this problem? So I'll go with my sourdough problem. When I first started making sourdough, I thought it'd be easy peasy. I mean, it's like 3 ingredients, you got some flour, you got some water, you got your starter. That's all there is, some salt. That's literally all there is to it. And I made a lot of paperweight bread to start, which became a lot of croutons. And I still can make some crouton bread. But I started to think, okay, what can I learn? Maybe there's some different recipes. There's different methods. And I started to really research. Okay, maybe I've got the wrong technique. Maybe I've got the wrong, I'm gonna go to town till I found Patrick Ryan. By the way, if you want to learn how to make sourdough bread, he was my mentor. Great Irish guy on YouTube. Okay, so is there something, back to you, your problem, is there something you could learn about this issue that you're facing right now? Okay, is there something you could put different in your head? Okay, or we could go to, oh yes, you can have some starter. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But problem solved. I can go now.
Done. Yeah. Anyone else need some starter? I'm your girl. I'm just the sourdough queen right now. Okay, but maybe the problem isn't in what you learn. You don't need to learn anything, but maybe you're stuck in the emotional realm. So this one is probably where I spend the most time coaching people, is on their beliefs or their feelings or something in that realm. Like I remember years ago, Oprah Winfrey doing a whole show on weight loss, for example. And she's like, I tried every diet. I tried every program. I was everything on it. So she was in the doing realm, right? She was physically doing something all the time. She was researching the best diets. She was in the intellectual realm and still didn't lose a pound until she dove into the emotional realm and that place of feeling worthy to have a body that was healthy and vibrant and alive, versus hiding in all of her trauma and abuse of her past. She healed that stuff. And that's when the weight dropped off. Even though she was, working out like a mad woman, it wasn't until she believed she was worthy did that weight release. Now, for you, it might be something different. Maybe you have a belief around money. Maybe you have a belief around relationships. Maybe you have a belief around your business, or even functioning in this pandemic, right? We've created beliefs that there is no work, or maybe there's too much, or I don't know. But just check in. Is there something to your problem that you could fix a belief around? Do you have a limiting belief in particular?
Beth, I know for myself. Now that you're saying this, that my belief, because of losing my job, my belief was because I've never asked for help.
Oh, so what was the belief that you created?
That I needed to do it myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you let go of that,
Then my husband put me on the payroll.
Yeah. Yeah, so did mine. There's a lot of husband support this year. That's part of I put that actually in my learns of the year, that I can lean on him more than I have in the past. Okay, so the last realm, and it's the realm that we usually, the last thing. Can you guess what's the S stand for? Anybody? Anybody?
No idea. The only thing that came up is self, something with self.
Oh, good guess. Good guess. It's actually the spiritual realm.
Oh, of course it is.
Yes. Or mindful realm, or the universal realm, or, you insert whatever makes most sense to you. But this is this idea that you could access the answer to your problem. And Wayne Dyer talked about this like crazy in his lifetime, right? This idea of meditation or pause, this idea of getting quiet and allowing the answer to come. And we can't access our intuition or higher thinking or higher consciousness or, God messages, whatever you want to believe. But there's this part of us, this knowing part of us that does know the answer. But if we don't stop the doing, the researching, the Googling, the frenzy, we can't access that. And that's why, whatever is your pause practice, like Linda and I, it's hitting the trails out with our dogs, right? And just, it's amazing what the answers will come. Most of our big ideas, or my big ideas, but even in our own business and the Live Revolution, have come when we're not sitting down with our laptops trying to come up with a good idea. It's come from when we pause, when we head to the mountains, when we head on the trails. So think about, can you access that part to solve the problem? Sometimes a really great technique is to put it into your subconscious before you go to bed. And you go, okay, I'd love to wake up with the answer. Universe, feed her in. Okay, so anybody digging on this 4-realm idea? Is this helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can you see how this might help you? Besides just saying, what am I going to do about it? Which is what most of us stay in, that physical realm. Okay, so here's the crazy part about this whole thing. And when I first was showing this one time with Linda, this is what we really want you to do, is invert your steps. Don't go to the do first. Go to that spiritual realm. Go to that big place of pause. Before you do anything, pause. Wait for that higher wisdom, your intuition, your gut, that quietness that comes with that higher thinking. Then go to the emotional realm and see if there's any limiting beliefs in there, any stories you might have made up about yourself or a situation or a person. That's pretty common. I don't know about you, but I've made up a lot of stories in my head that were not good.
Not just a lot of stories in our heads. How about having a lot of conversations in your head
right
that are never going to happen? When I see that person, you say something, that person says something, and
right.
Yeah.
So clear that out. Like, that's your personal work. And that's something, by the way, that you have 100% control over. We often think we have no control in our lives. These are all areas that you can control. How your spiritual, your pause practice, your beliefs, that's on you. What you learn, what you put in your head. Are you binging Netflix? Are you watching the news? Are you listening to podcasts or inspirational TED Talks? For the record, I've done plenty of both of those this year. In fact, more on the Netflix than TED Talks. I've given myself a good talking to lately, and I'm trying to stop watching Grey's Anatomy. So, and then once you've come down all the levels, then it'll be so clear to you, what can you do about it? Got it? So we'd love to hear if this works for you later, after, message us. We just want to really serve you today. And I hope this little tiny tool, when you have a problem, which realm, and sometimes you need to go to all 4. Sometimes it'll be so clear the realm that you need to solve the problem with.
Okay, I've got just a quick question, Beth. Because I know the first time I ever saw you do this, I was like, oh God, that's I have experienced, and I'm sure other people have as well, way more bouts of sort of panic or anxiety that doesn't seem to be based in anything other than maybe I had too much coffee or something, but it's a really unsettling. I had a little bit this morning because I was nervous, but when I have a sort of a panicky situation happen,
Yes.
Maybe also because my defenses are probably not as strong as normal.
Yeah.
And it was recommended to me that I literally, that whole stop and literally take a step back
Mm-hmm.
and pause and to just ground again before I try and figure it out.
Yeah. So, I mean, in a way, you're doing a mini spiritual practice in that moment, right? That just breathing, right? Just taking a big breath. Like it's actually another technique that I use if you're having any sort of panic, or you're about to have a reaction, or you're about to send off a snippy email, it's a little chippy, you find yourself a little chippy, right? Yeah, a little salty, as Linda would say. Do an ABC, which is stop. A stands for arrête. So in Canada, it's a bilingual tool. So ABC stands for arrête, stop, breathe, and then the C is celebrate. Just celebrate that you stop to take a breath. Like maybe you're in a bad lineup, if you at the mall, or you're on hold for 18 hours with an airline trying to change your ticket and you're freaking out.
No, you're right now it's the post office.
Or post office lineup, right? All those things are, moments. I mean, let's face it, life brings us opportunities to do an ABC every day. So, probably maybe the humans that you live with, it's amazing what will happen if you just do stop, breathe, celebrate. And all you're celebrating is the fact that you stop to take a breath. And that literally, that moment can just, it's calming. It's calming.
Well, it physically and mentally affects you. So
of course, right? It actually sends a message to your parasympathetic nervous system that it's okay. It's okay, right? And sometimes we just have to allow that anxiety to come, and rather than try to analyze it, figure it out, and we actually hold it in ourselves because we're trying to figure it out, let it just move through. Just go, okay, it's like a wave. You let it wash through, feeling really anxious. Whoo, and wait for it to pass. And if it's still there, then you can maybe then try to figure it out, put it through the 4 realms, but keep breathing, right? Crystal says, love the 4 realm concept. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Starting with spiritual. Okay. Excellent. All right. We're going to take a break in a minute, but Linda, you want to tell us what we're going to do before we break?
Yes. Apparently I didn't really look at this photo when I put it in here because it's got watermark on it, which means I shouldn't have used this photo. So just pretend the photo's not there of the 2 boys.
I didn't even notice that till you pointed that out.
Well, I know I didn't either. So I'll just look at it. Anywho, so we're going to take a break, but we would love you to ask us anything, and you can send this to us privately if you want to, or make it public, whatever you want to do. Beth, you're going to have to read them because for some reason my chat has frozen, so that's why I have not been. Sorry.
Okay, I can do that. So yeah, if anything's, because we've already dug in a little bit deep, we've done some excavating, and maybe something's like, oh, I wish I could ask this question. I wish I could get some coaching on this, or this is really, I don't understand something. Now's your chance. Your chance. If something's bubbled up for you, you're like, oh, I got a question, or maybe you just have a comment that you really want to share when we come back from the break. We just want to build that in.
Yeah,
we want to build that in. So if you have a question, message us, either put it in the chat or privately. You can adjust the chat to private, or text us or whatever. Send us anything, a message. Okay, thank you. Some are coming in right now, so that's beautiful. So again, totally anonymous. We're just going to answer them anonymously, unless you say no, I want to be coached on the spot. Then we'll just answer the question best we can. But let's take 5 minutes? Yeah. So I have 10:55 on my phone right now. So everybody can just take a little break. Maybe you just need to get a little, top up your beverage, do a little bio break.
There's no lineups at the washroom, so it's
no lineups at the washrooms at this conference. And we'll come back at 11 o'clock Pacific. Whatever is in your time zone. I know we got some people all across Canada and the US. So wherever you are, come back in 5 minutes, whatever time it is. Okay?
Okay.
See you in 5. Oh, hi. Oh, yes.
You should go and pull up.
Change. I put on my gown.
Nice.
I'm
Okay.
in this baby.
Where did you get that? Because that's the one where Linda was wearing the ice skating costume.
right.
And you were. They're both beautiful. Where did
Where
you
I get
them?
it? Value Village, of course.
Oh, of course you do. That's my favorite place. I made my baby twin grandchildren last Halloween peas and carrots outfits from 2 men's t-shirts, a green one and an orange one. And I found lace and green lace that was for the carrot head, and it was so much fun.
It's fun dressing up. I was happy to be able to zip it up, to be honest. I was like,
oh my God, after COVID, yeah.
Woo! That was close.
Good girl.
I thought I was gonna have to be like the V in the back, you know. Okay, yeah, we forgot to tell you, stage change optional. And I'm going into this is the royal half of the hour. I should talk like the queen.
I would have dressed up if I'd known. Did I miss something?
We should have mentioned, but we didn't want to overwhelm people.
No, that's true.
Next year, maybe we'll have to have if we're still in this, we'll have our virtual, I don't have a staff party. And then you have to dress up. I don't even know what we're doing for our staff party this year.
I told you, we got to dress up like we're going to our staff party and we want to hook up with one of our co-workers.
Okay, so
that's funny.
Let's go. I've got some great questions. So holy lot, so many. So great. Okay, thank you so much for chiming in. Okay, I'm going to start with the first one. Okay, so welcome back. All right, so Linda, I'll just read them out since you, for some reason, can't access the chat.
I'm going to try to do something. I just closed it. Okay, because it was not working for me. So I
got it. See, that's why we collaborate, so that we can have to have one glove off and one glove on in order to manage. This is where the queen cannot Zoom. Clearly, if you're the queen, you can't use your buttons. Okay, so first one, sort of a question around handling self-doubt, not trusting my instincts. Okay, Linda, you want to take that one? How would you handle that? Self-doubt lives in my house for sure. She's got a spare bedroom. She hangs out with self-sabotage and self-deprecating. And
so self-doubt happens it happens to all of us. The difference between someone who has a lot of confidence and self-doubt is literally just walking into stuff. Okay, so when we haven't, I call that a toolkit that we have in our back pocket, meaning that you've done some things in your lifetime. I hear someone running. You've done some things in your lifetime, oh, okay.
Can I take this one? Where's the power cord?
Okay. Okay. People, there's some problems at headquarters here because the queen is dying. Anyway, back to self-doubt. No, actually, let me just do a caveat for a second. I've done a lot of research with organizations and over how do we, manage with our teams, and you got to expect some stuff to go sideways. Just expect it. And because perfection has never existed, and we know that for sure this last 9.5 months. And so hopefully I think people are way more forgiving that when the cat runs across your table or the dog barks or in my house, the Amazon guy shows up with another package every other day and knocks on the door, whatever. See, the queen's back, and hopefully she'll get turned on here. Literally. I mean, not forget it. Now she's hot flashing. So back to self-doubt.
Okay.
The difference between people, again, confident versus confidence doesn't come before you do something. It comes after you've done something. And self-doubt comes in when we forget of all the beautiful stuff we've already done. And that's what happens. So when I had my first, example, when I had my first request to speak in September virtually, I was so nervous and anxious.
I should mention we have like 10 questions. So
Okay.
Just the same.
Okay.
We'll be here for 4 hours if we take 5 minutes for every question.
Beth had to tell me, Linda, you were an effing cheerleader when you were in high school. So go out there and be the cheerleader. Meaning you've done this before. I needed someone to remind me. So when self-doubt comes up, you need to like express it to someone who will give you a bit of a kick, a little bit of a push, a little bit of support, a little bit of, coaching. But literally just walk into your fears. Just start practicing walking into whatever that scares the crap out of you. It's such a beautiful thing to do for yourself.
So good. Okay, now another question around wondering if there's an opportunity to reach out for a Zoom buddy to get through winter in isolation during COVID, which I think is a great idea. So if you want to reach out to someone in this group, message away. Or if you want to just...
So far, so good, but I'm a little concerned.
Yeah. I think it's a really, really great idea for all the reasons that Linda was just talking about, for self-doubt, for coaching, for cheer, for collaboration, just for company.
So what I'd suggest you do is in the chat. How do we capture chats? I can't remember technically. BK is not here anymore. Or how about you all have my email address. If you want to reach out and I will put together a list of people who would like to have a chat. And the reason I know how powerful this is, I myself have been taking a course through the fall, and we'll do another one in January. And a part of the course, but it's a 5-week course, part of the course between the weeks, you would assign us to have a 30-minute chat with somebody. Best part of the whole course, I'll be honest with you. And
was the buddy system. Yeah.
Just to chat. Whatever. What do you do? What do I do? What do you like? It was just a really, really powerful. I mean,
that was hard for me to ask, by the way.
No, I'm so glad you did. So Shelley, we'll hook you up, and anybody else who wants a buddy,
send me
on this in this thing.
Yeah.
Linda's be the matchmaker.
Thank you, Linda.
Happy to do it.
Here's another question. Being mindful is still a real challenge for me. Okay, first of all, anybody else find the mindfulness category, the pause, meditation, difficult, right? It is so hard, me too. My mind and brain goes to muck all the time. I'm sure I'm not the only one. You're not. How do I get started in 2021? Well, that's pretty much what, in order to accomplish, so you just insert mindfulness into any habit that you want to create. What's the answer?
So seriously, mindfulness is a practice. You got to know this. It's a practice that takes practice. And just start. So just commit to tomorrow morning. You're going to start. What would you love to do for the first 10 minutes of your day? That would really that is important to you.
Yeah, like you do not have to sit and tone like the Buddha. No, do a practice that works for you. And you're right, whatever habit you're trying to start, just start. Just make it a non-negotiable thing. And I would start with even 5 minutes, right? I'm going to sit with my tea for 5 minutes. I'm going to walk outside for 5 minutes. I'm going to read something for 5 minutes. I'm going to journal for 5 minutes. I'm going to do nothing for 5 minutes. And just commit to it and just say it's how I start my day.
So what I do every day is I watch CTV morning news, but it's out of Vancouver, and 2 minutes to 8 o'clock every day they do here's your morning smile. If you're from BC and you watch CTV, here's your morning smile. I make sure I've got my coffee and I watch the morning smile, and usually it's just 3 different animals doing cute things, and I'm going, great, I can get up, let's go. That's lit. That's it. That's what sets me up.
Right. So yeah, there you go. So just start. Okay, let's see what it can do. Wondering what I can do to feel more like I matter. I'm lacking in the feeling of worthiness. So first of all, thank you. Thank you for this beautiful, vulnerable question. Linda, what do you think about worthiness? What's your strategy around that?
If you want to feel more like you matter, I really think you need to instead of thinking of it coming to you, I think you want to think about what can I do for someone else to make them feel like they matter, because that will make you matter. So just do some expression of support outward, which will, because that's what matters. If we want more love, we need to love more. If we want more peace, we need to be create more peaceful situation, so do it as an outward expression.
Yeah.
And if you specifically want, because I don't know who this is, you want to talk specifics, I can't see the chat, send me an email and I'll give you some suggestions.
Yeah. And I agree. I think that's a great strategy. Give what you want. And a resource that I would offer on worthiness is Marianne Williamson, bar none, A Woman's Worth. Read that book cover to cover, and you cannot emerge at the end of it. It's a small little book. It's called A Woman's Worth. She will remind you of how awesome you are. And just for the record, because I know who you are, I'm looking at you right now. You are awesome. And thanks for being here and asking that beautiful question. Okay. There's a question around, they want to know where people are dialing in from. So if you want to put that in the chat, feel free. That's an easy one. Here's another one. Fear of judgment. Another one I'd like to tackle in 2021. I'm very successful in my field, and the fear of judgment and failure outside of it is crippling. Again, doubt I'm alone. Okay, Linda, you got a thing on judgment?
Well, I don't know who you are because I don't have the chat right now. I would just sit with, if I was judging you right now, what are you afraid of us finding out? There's no judgment, fear of judgment. People are actually so worried about themselves, they aren't worried about you, right? If we have goals, and I always say, or things we want to do, and we're going to do that right away here. Write some stuff down, literally put pen to paper. Most of us never do that because what if I have to see it? That's kind of the point. Let alone if you really want stuff to happen, you have to express it to other people. But we don't do that either because we're so afraid that what if I don't do it, you're going to judge me. We're not going to judge you because we're not even thinking about you because we're so self-consumed ourselves with what I'm not doing, right? So a part of me would I just want to give you a hug and then a shake and say, just move into whatever. So if you're successful, I've got to sit and ponder this a bit. You're being extremely hard on yourself. Just sit with curiosity for a while around this. Why do you have this crippling fear of people judging you like that? There's probably some belief system, some stuff, and I can send you a little exercise if you want to do a sort of a life track. And in fact, Jane Fonda is big on the old, doing an assessment of where your life is and what's got me here. And big part of that is our belief systems and all the messages we keep on. So there's probably some judgment in there from when you're young, which is carried forward, which is carried forward, which is carried forward, which is carried forward. And part of you said, F it, I'm going to just be successful and that will cure it. Well, it hasn't because we haven't really dealt with the belief system.
Yeah.
The messaging. And so I can send you a really easy, very simple exercise. If you're curious about that, send me an email and I will help you do that.
Okay, beautiful. And I would also add that in that judgment is to be aware that people will always judge, right? So we're not going to say, oh, there's no judgment out there. There's tons of judgment out there. And Linda's right. The only judgment that really matters is the one you have for yourself, and your maybe closest people that matter. So, feedback is an interesting thing. And I would also encourage you to stay in curiosity versus judgment and just start noticing,
and also
more than judge.
As we grow as women and men, as we grow and evolve and become more self-aware as we move into 2021, as you change, people around you who love you will do everything they can to have you not change, because if you want to become better and you're leaning into the mirror and you're just really evolving, people around you are going, what are you doing that for? What workshop do you do this take? They're doing that subconsciously because they don't want to change themselves. And so sometimes that judgment comes from a place of they don't want you to change, and that's their fears being projected.
Yeah, love it. Okay, I think this is the last question. What are better strategies to connect with family who are far away, and big stuff's happening for them, engagements, and maybe there's new babies? Like, I'm just gonna make this question about people who are missing family away, looking for connections to connect. So probably everybody has some suggestions to answer this question. If you have a good thing that you've been doing to connect with family that are far away, my answer to this would be, so often with our families that live close, or even our friends, and Linda, you can relate to this, is the traditions, right? The Sunday night supper, or the Wednesday night this, or game night, or whatever. And, can you build in some of those traditions virtually? Can you still build those in so that you kind of look forward to Sunday night supper together, even if you can't be together? But I would love to hear if anybody else has some ideas. Put it in the chat of how do you stay connected, especially when big things are happening, like babies and engagement and stuff going on. Okay, I think that's the end of the questions. Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving on?
Moving on.
Okay, yes.
Moving on.
So let's move into 2021. And I really think what I want you to think about to wrap up 2020, how do you see yourself celebrating celebrating New Year's Eve this year? Just if you haven't pondered that, see, I thought we'd just be like, it'll be fireworks and thank God that year's done. But I really think I might write a little letter, to Mr. COVID or Ms. COVID, and put all my whatever down on a piece of paper. And I think I'm going to crunch it up and burn it in a campfire. I really do. I guess I'm going to let go of the year. As we said, glean the wins, cherish the learns, and let her be. And I'll eat my crab by myself. Or my, what are you going to do? But, we got to stop buying boxed wine, Beth. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So let me do a quick exercise with you.
To the home, if you're playing along. Genie question.
So what I want you to do is I'm going to ask you 3 questions because I want you to have some clarity. So if we're going to have a vision for 2021, you got to know what you want, right? So what do you really, really want? And I'm going to just do a little clarity exercise with you to help you get there, to set the foundation for what you really, really want. Okay, so play along with me. 3 questions. I'm the genie and I grant you one wish, anything you want. But you can't wish for more wishes, and you can't wish to take away someone else's free will, meaning that, I always say this, if they don't love you, you can't make them, okay? But one wish, anything, just put it down. Don't overthink this. Just put down if you could have one wish, anything you want, write it down. Okay, but literally put this on paper, on the handout there. Number 2, I need you to put some context to the wish. I need you to see yourself. So you've got the wish, boom, I just granted it to you. What's your life like? What's going on? What's different? What's similar? Now that you have this wish, whatever it is, what are you doing differently, if anything? Are you living somewhere differently? Are you, walking down a beach and walking a sunset? Are you at a concert? All the concerts that I have tickets for sitting in my office right now from last year. Do you see yourself? Paint the picture with the wish, all right? That's number 2. Number 3, you've got the wish, you can see yourself, you've got some context to that. What does all that now make you feel? What is the emotion attached to you having this wish? And there might be a couple, but don't put too many, just have 1 or 2 emotions that now that you have this and you can feel it, what's the emotion attached to that? Okay, and write that down. Because the real answer to, if I'm the genie and I grant you this wish, the real answer to the question of what wish you want is the 3rd answer you put down there. That's what you really want. You want to feel that more often. And what I'd love for you to do is to put that emotion or couple in the chat, please. Just so we can see what the variety is, okay? And Beth will tell me.
Excited, yeah. Okay, here's some words. Happy, self-love. So good. Yeah, peaceful. Peaceful.
Yeah, that's common.
Freedom.
Peace, freedom is a very common one.
Yeah. Happy, peace, joy. Happy, complete. Can you feel these words? Like they land in your heart. This is one of our favorite exercises to do. It's one of my favorite exercises.
Yeah.
I shouldn't project I don't know what your favorite is. This is one of my favorite. Peaceful. It's a lot of peace.
Okay.
Balanced. Very nice.
Beautiful.
Okay.
See, the thing is, what do we really want? The clarity that this is just a clarity exercise. This is what you really want, to feel that more often. And you can have that without the first wish. The first wish is an external driver, and what you really want is an internal driver. So you can have peace, you can have joy, you can have freedom, excitement, contentment, all those things right now. So the challenge for everybody on this in this class today is, it's what, Thursday, right? It's Thursday,
December 10th.
Thank you.
FYI. 15 days till Christmas.
Thursday, Friday. So through the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is just, because everything, remember, everything takes practice. Life is just an experiment. So this is just a practice for the next 3 days, 3.5 days. I want you to make decisions and do things that bring you to feel this emotion more often over the next 3 days. So when you make decisions, what am I going to eat? Who am I going to chat with? What should I watch tonight? Or what should I do tomorrow? Beth is enjoying
that are in alignment with your word.
Yeah. Right. Do you understand what I'm asking you to experiment with? So moving forward, so write that down. For the next 3 days, I will do whatever, whether you go shopping, where you go shopping, if driving past the candy cane lane, the Christmas tree lights makes you feel what you want to feel, do it. If it's get better sleep for the next 3 nights, do that. Honestly, you can do this. This is a really simple thing. It's simple, but it's a practice. So you have to remind yourself, don't respond, move towards this word. And so choosing your word. And now your word may or may not be what you just wrote down, but it's probably part of it. And Beth and I usually at the end of when we have our Christmas party with our staff, that people who don't have staff party, we always say, what was the best thing about 2020? What was the learn about 2020? And what's your word for 2021? And so I want you to consider the word you just wrote down there as your word for 2021, right? And because a word becomes, as we call it, your North Star. So you need to align what you want to do this next year with feeling that more often. That means decision making for yourself that brings you to that. It's like a gauge. It's like it's how else do you say it besides North Star? But it's got to be a guide, but it's got to be intentional. Decisions that are intentional, and that you choose to make decisions that are intentional versus just react. Because when we just react, we're not going towards that word that you're leaning toward. The word that I've chosen, I didn't even know what this word, I never even heard this word before until about 3-4 weeks ago. My word for 2021 is equanimity. And I never even heard that word. Equanimity.
That's fancy. What does that mean? Sounds equal something.
It's mental calmness and composure, especially in difficult situations. It's a Buddhist term that is used a lot, but someone used it in a class I was in, and I said, sorry, I don't know what that word means. And I went, oh, I love that. Mental calmness and composure, especially in difficult situations, because there's going to be a lot more difficult situations, personally, professionally, with family, with patients, with all that. And how else did she describe it? If you're sitting on a pillow and if you're a meditator, if you're sitting on your pillow, you don't let anything knock you off your pillow. That's what she described equanimity, meaning you stay grounded, right? Consistently, you stay grounded. That's what so I just love the word. I thought it was just, so again, whether it's your word that you did with the
gene equanimity, is that how you?
Equanimity.
Okay, I'm putting it in the chat, people. Someone's Monique wanted to know, repeat it. Equanimity.
Equanimity. And there's some beautiful posters if you go into Google for that word. There's some beautiful posters that people have got with that word. Okay.
So good.
And so what's everybody's word? Is it the one you just discovered with the genie question, or do you have something else? So I don't know.
Word for 2021.
There's lots of.
Here's some other ones. Joy, see?
Healthy, vibrant.
Joy. Oh, tenacity.
I love tenacity.
That's a grit,
a good
balance.
Yeah.
Beautiful, like it's calm.
One year my words were wildly content. Because I was always so uncontent.
Empowering. I mean, there's really no such thing as a wrong word.
Yeah.
But it's really going to be what you line up your yeses and nos with. Does that bring me more of that or less of that?
And
create the power of the word.
Create a little post, an Instagram post today. Say, this is my word for 2021, and get a picture. And if you know how to use Canva, or if you know how to use
that's a great idea.
Word Swagger, and just
empowered, empowering, harmonious. Woo!
Because the
good
more
words.
Write it down and express it, it becomes our subconscious takes it more seriously.
But yeah, definitely, like put it somewhere you can see all the time.
Sticky note, if it's just a sticky note to your computer, whatever. Okay. Align every yes and every no to your word. When you know what you want, you can say no to what you don't want. Okay. And that's clarity. See, let's talk about clutter just for a second. The reason we have piled so much stuff on our plates, and I've said, I've been home for so many months.
We're in our home.
Yeah. You'd think I would have this place just dialed. It's worse than when I was on the road half the year. Like, I don't know what. I don't know. I just don't even know. And so that to me is clutter. And when we have clutter, the reason we pile so much crap on our plates is because when there's so much stuff on our plates, we don't have to deal with what's on the other side of the plate. Do you understand what I'm saying? That clutter gets in the way of us seeing what we really want. So whether that's mental clutter or physical clutter or emotional clutter, just notice how much clutter is going on. And because that clarity will help you create some space. That's what where this little exercise is around, is create some space for ideas and creativity to land. Because it's bouncing around all the time, creativity is. And if you're so full, it's going to bounce off to someone who's got some space. And if you want to move into 2021, energized, creative, thinking of new ways of doing things, reading different stuff, talking differently, chatting with people that are not the same, whatever, create some space for that, to allow that to happen. And you can say no to what you don't want when you're clear on that. All right. Speaking of joy.
The joy. Oh, now I should have. See, I was too early with the joy.
Too early with the joy.
Joy. Premature joy. Oh.
Premature spelling.
Premature spelling. Joy. Okay, well, we just want to say a word about joy because it doesn't have to be your word of the year, but we really call this the alive spice, because no matter what your goals are, no matter what your word is, if you really want to lead this thing called the alive life versus the fine or not so fine or good life, we think you got to have joy. You got to have like infusions of joy. Like we think it's like, we call it the alive spice because it's like we just want to sprinkle that stuff on everything. It's like your favorite spice in your cupboard. Or right now, I think what's our favorite right now is the truffle oil. It's not a spice, but it's joy. There's a lot of joy in a truffle oil bottle. But we just want you to consider how much joy you have. And again, even when times are challenging you, is exactly when you need to add more spice, more joy. But we also wanted to do this last little planning, or not the last, second last planning tool. Okay, forward. Okay, this idea of thinking about your stories. Now, if you've ever heard Linda speak, and certainly I've started to adopt this question, how old are your stories, right? So this is me, super glam photo of me trying to walk across a wet log on the West Coast Trail that's like, I don't know, 20 feet up. And all I can think about is, this is how it's going to end. This is it. This is how I go down on this rainy day in the middle of a rainforest. But doing things that are amazing, and particularly doing things that are challenging, give us so much joy on the other side when we get through. So this was one of my big challenges, not last year. Was it last year? When did I do this thing? I feel like it was just last year.
Yes,
oh, my son says regularly, we've heard that story so many times, right? So, you know, this is our challenge for you to think about 2021 in whichever way you can, mask on, mask off, whatever. Plan something epic in your life. And so this is, we want you to look at your live life. So we're back to the ho section. And, you know, this is sort of was inspired by the, you know, that great film in 2007 with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson, The Bucket List. I don't know, did anybody see it? Do you see that movie? We just love, like, they were just the perfect pair, perfect actors. And, you know, for me anyways, it was my first time really hearing this concept, the bucket list. So of course we morphed it into the alive list, because that's what we make everything alive. And so we really invite you to think of some things to put on your list. So we have what we call the every alive, which you should read every day alive, but every day alive. So we don't have to wait to hike the West Coast Trail or Mount Kilimanjaro or walk the Camino or all these epic things that we might have on our live list. We also want to make sure that you have something that you can do for yourself. That's kind of everyday things, whether it's get out in your garden or take a walk outside or watch some birds or, you know, whatever, walk your dog. You don't have a dog, walk someone else's dog. Volunteer at the shelter. I don't know, whatever makes you feel. Maybe it's baking. Maybe that's your everyday alive, when you're in the kitchen cooking up something. And, you know, like Linda makes the most amazing soup. So maybe it's like, speaking of spice, right? What's some other everyday lives that you have? Just put it in the chat if you have something that you love to do every day that brings you joy. What would that be? Do you have some, you know, might even just be your favorite cup of tea, like it has the most absolute little tea leaves that you love.
Chai Baba.
Right? Dance in the kitchen, just one, right? Crystal, exactly. Right? Just one
nice
song.
Dance in too.
Right? And it gets you in your body. That's like a multiple joy things. It's endorphins, it's movement, it's music. It gets you out of your head into your body. Dance.
I know what Crystal brings Crystal joy. Secretly dropping stuff off on your doorstep.
Yeah, she is a little secret Santa that way. Having animals around me more often. Yes, you can pick my dogs up anytime. And finding new recipes from faraway places and using new spices with music. Daily alive, a good cup of coffee. Yes, especially outside when it's warm. Daily, looking for opportunities to serve someone, even a stranger. Oh, Monique, that's so beautiful. And, you know, when we talk, oh, this is Linda's joy coming next week. Sir Finnegan Henry Edgecombe, the first, arriving next week. So if you follow Linda on Instagram, be ready for the flood of Finn. I can't wait to meet him. Connect with my friends one by one. Yes. Reach out and say a friend hello or hug via text or phoning. Yes. Yeah. Do you find that this year, you know, we phone people more than we used to just text them, and now we're like, hi, let's talk. This is great examples of everyday life. Okay, so now let's go to the dream alive. So something you've been meaning to do, maybe you can put it on the calendar next year. What are some things on your dream alive list? Like, you know, Linda, I was thinking about when you said, what would you do if you knew you couldn't? I would be host a retreat, like in Tuscany or Greece, do a little Shirley Valentine kind of retreat.
I know just that is.
Right? Just get out in the world with some peeps. So yeah, so hug someone. That's on your, you know, that's beautiful. So what are some dream alive? You know, my dream alive list is to spend the whole, like a big chunk of time in Tuscany. I just want to really get fat and my own version of eat, pray, love without the pray or the love, and just eat. just want to eat in Italy. What's on your dream alive list, Linda?
Huh? I want to hike part of the Pacific Crest Trail.
Oh, yes. We were going to do that this year. Maybe next year. It was going to be on our Not So Wild tour. No camping, high thread count sheets, but hiking. How do you plan the future when it's so uncertain? Well, again, you can plan something with just your family or your little bubble, or
I'm going to jump into just a little bit. When you find yourself when it's so uncertain, and then that turns how you're feeling, you need to sort of go, okay, interesting that I'm thinking that way, because I think there's a great opportunity for all of us to be very optimistic, and we have to continuously push ourselves when we get into it's so everything, it is uncertain, but I think there's a place for optimism. And so try and practice that will allow you to be
stay in the dream. And to be honest, there's a ton of places we can still travel. Countries aren't closed. Just how we travel is quite different. The before and after, and all that. Yeah, it's a little more tricky, but even now, like literally today, we could get on a plane and go somewhere. So don't let that rational brain is not involved with the Dream Alive list. The rational brain is really great for the intellectual realm when we're solving problems. Perfect. Right now, stay in the dream. Okay, here's a couple more. Visit my girlfriends in Australia and Singapore. Yeah, visit my 82 mother in Mexico. So good, so good. Okay, all right. So you get the idea. Write a few things down and then fill in the bottom of that form, right? Again, we love putting pen to paper. We love encouraging the real, take a trip to New York. Yes, see, that's a dream. Do it. So pick one thing and say, I will do something this week on the Everyday Alive list. I will do something this week, and I will do one thing this year, this coming year in 2021. I'm going to go. I'm going to paddle. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to dream. I'm going to have a beautiful whatever. Just put on the list. Who knows what the year will bring? But I feel like if you put it out there and you allow the sort of universe or law of attraction or the forces that support our dreams, and right now, today is not the worry about the how. Just get clear on the what. What would give you so much joy on your list, and then see how the how manifests. And you would be amazed.
Continuously write it down, because then your subconscious mind will pay more attention to it, will make it more important to you.
And figure out solutions, right? So if anyone wants to put any of their joy in the chat, I'd love to see some dream joys on there. And then we'll go to our next section. Yeah. Any more jive? Okay, over to you, Linda May.
Okay, so you have this in your handout. It's my live planning, and how I normally use this handout when I'm literally live with people. I give them 3 minutes, and people panic to fill up the whole sheet. And but I'm not going to do that, because I actually want you to sit with this when we're not on this call, and fill it out. Pour yourself either your favorite cup of tea, coffee, wine, cocktail, mimosa, eggnog, and just sit. Find a spot where you can be quiet and reflective, and probably do that over the next 3 days while you're doing the other thing, moving towards feeling how you want to feel, and just fill out this sheet. And there's no right, there's no wrong. There is an answer for every one of them, because often I'll say, when I do this live with people, I'll say, so who had a word that they didn't like? And everybody has a word that they didn't like. So they pass over it. I'll say, and who has an answer to that word? So don't get heady, meaning, don't get in your brain too much. Go off your gut, trust your heart, trust your intuition as you fill this out. So as we're thinking of 2021, this year I will, start a garden, quit procrastinating. So there's lots of things you can do that reflect on you. And I want you to just commit to it. It'll probably take you 15 minutes to actually mindfully fill this out. And so carve that time. And you have to carve it, because you're not going to find it. It's not just going to happen. And that's literally all I want to say about this. Is just a way to continuously write things down to help you reflect moving forward. Okay. And because I thought, I'm not going to do this like I normally do with this. I just give people a panic and just want them to get their brain being more creative and in the moment. And anyways, I'm not going to do it that way. I really want you to sit with it, nurture it, and, marinate on it, kind of thing. Okay. Even though the road ahead might be windy, it can still be very, very good. It can be. It's perspective. We have to really work on our perspectives every day, almost every 5 minutes of every day when stuff is happening these days. The wins and the learns. We've got to continuously do that. And Beth, just re-emphasize our alive rituals.
Yeah. So again, just really quickly, because Linda covered this when we talked about the alive essentials. Because when you notice yourself, especially the areas that you were lower in scores in, but really just noticing your overall mental health. Really, this is really about mental health, because myself for sure this year has been really challenged in the mental health department as things changed and worry set in and all the things that I'm sure lots of you were experiencing as well. And I realized that, and just to be completely clear, I have not been good at this a lot this year. And like I said, I gave myself a good talking to the other day, and I've really, even in this week leading up to this class, I was really trying to be mindful about it, just thinking, does it make a difference in how I start and end my day? So that's really the filling in the blank. If you're following along, the first thing you do and the last thing you do each day matters. The first thing you do and the last thing you do each day matters. So you see here, like, I have, a colleague that I follow on Instagram who is an Ayurvedic coach. So if you've studied any Ayurvedic or you want to Google that, I can put that in the word, if I can spell Ayurvedic, or if someone is good at spelling, maybe they could put Ayurvedic in the chat. But the Ayurvedic is really this practice where they believe almost everything can be solved with food, sleep, and these sort of rituals of what kind of, how we move in the day. And that's in alignment with the 3 doshas, which are Kapha, Pitta, Vata. Again, I'm not going to do an Ayurvedic teaching here, but I really want, so anyways, she was doing this post recently that I really inspired me. She goes, this is how I start and end my day. And she gave these rituals. So I'm just going to read off a few things that she does, which is many. But the first thing she does is she detoxes. So she drinks a detox tea. She says, I want to start my digestion very slowly. So she eats poached apples, which I've started to poach apples in the morning, and it's delicious with like little cinnamon and cloves. She lights a candle, she meditates, then she moves her body, she might go for a run, she might do something active, then she stretches, then she reads, then she writes in her journal, then she does some gratitude, and she ends it sort of in prayer. Like that's a lot. Like most people don't have, that's like 2 hours later, I'm ready for my day, right? Which most people are like, okay, I got 5 minutes. But I want to invite you, and she ends the day very similarly, right? Slows down. Again, the kapha is about slow energy, so slow moving. And you end your day the same way, turning things down, turning off your digestion, so you stop eating, you turn off your electronics, you stop inputting that in your head. You have a hot bath, you have a hot drink, you maybe do stretch, maybe meditate, then you do some gratitude. So that basically her rituals are almost the same in the evening and the PM, or morning and the evening. So we just wanted to share this with you, that there's many things you could do, but even if you just did one of those things to start your day and one to end them, what could you do just to change how you bookend, how you start your morning, and how just before you go to sleep? And the idea, bringing back the curiosity, thinking about how do you feel when you have these rituals in place versus when you don't. And I can tell you, when I'm, just watch Netflix before I go to bed, which is I think is a ritual that does not serve me, I don't have good sleep. Or if I get up and first thing I check is my email, versus just pausing, having a nice, beautiful cup of coffee and just sitting there and, play crib with my husband. That's my morning ritual. Before I even check the email, before I read the news, before I've gone on anything. And I feel so much better when I do those things. So again, you have to find the rituals that work for you. Shelly is saying that, okay, good. Okay, I'm going to go to bed at 9:30, TV off, rituals for bedtime. Yay, thank you. And use as 10 minutes in the morning. to ask myself those questions in the life planning list. Oh my God. See, so good. So again, you don't have to do things for 2 hours. If you have that luxury, well, go for it. But really, even one thing to start your day with mindfulness versus busyness is really what we're getting at here. These beautiful rituals. Linda, do you have any rituals you want to add into this?
Well, like I said before, I start my day with the morning smile because it's funny and it's sweet to me. But I also end my day by watching something funny. I'll be honest with you. It's not usually Netflix, but I usually watch a 10-minute piece because I love laughter. I just love it. And of course, there's my dog, and that's morning and night. So. And those things, they're really simple. They're nothing extraordinary. I'm not a meditator. I do like reading a page or two in the morning. I just commit to a page or two and a page or two at night, but that's usually in something that's fairly motivational.
Oh shit.
That's all right. It's all good.
I think I was trying to tap in the chat and I forwarded the slides.
I know.
Hands off. I'm off.
Stopped. So let's because we're coming close to the end, but I wanted to just add, it's on the last page of your, second last page of your HO, your handout, the live bonus, and it is about forgiving yourself. Forgive yourself and everything else around you. It's if you really want to have a phenomenal, successful, energized, creative, mindful 2021, we have to let some stuff go. And, forgiveness is easy to say, not always easy to do, but it's really just such an energy, spirit sucking thing to not be able to let stuff go that no longer serves us. And it's about, forgiving every single bit of crap, stuff you didn't apologize for, rude, mean, insensitive, because really when you're forgiving someone, whether it's yourself, and most of the times it's ourselves or someone else, you're just, the energy you're spending on that is just, it's so destructive. And if you really want to see, and we do, I'm very optimistic for 2021 because I don't have an option for anything else. That's it. There's no other option other optimism. Although I've had some very great lessons this year. I have fallen off the Linda Edgecombe message, wagon lots, meaning I have forgotten what I've been teaching for 30 years. And
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. But again,
depressed motivational speakers there.
Yeah, there's irony, and and that's okay. I've reinvented so many times, and reinventing means I have to do this. I have to look at myself, although I can't see myself. I'm looking. I can only see myself if I look over here. Looking in the mirror is not easy, but it is so beneficial. And so I want you to really let go of stuff that is no longer serving you, and forgive yourself for stuff we may have done, thought, said, wrote, all of it. So you can't calm the storm, so stop trying. We can't. What you can do is calm yourself, because the storm is going to pass. Mm-hmm. And that's a quote that I got off of when I looked up equanimity.
Ah, nice.
So calm yourself first, and let the storm pass. And the storm is going to pass. And for those of you that live in the Okanagan, that's a photo of the lake we live on. Beautiful Okanagan Lake. And forgive yourself and let yourself off the hook. If nothing else, write this down in capital letters put this on a sticky note, put it next to your computer. Let yourself off the hook, because most of us we're hooked. And this is we got to start. Radical self-care, and intentional radical self-care is critical right now, so we have the energy to show up as best as we can. And it takes practice and mindful, intentional energy to do radical self-care, which is part of that is letting yourself off the hook. Let it go. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. And it's really important that you let yourself off the hook.
Right. And, self-care is so much more than bubble baths and pedicures, right? It's about self-compassion and self-kindness and self-forgiveness.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay, so a few people are leaving, but for those of you who can stay, love for you to hear this. What was your greatest takeaway from, I mean, do you believe it? I mean, first it felt like it was going slow and now it's like almost 2 hours. So thank you for all of you who stayed on. And if for those of you listening to this recording later, yes, you know, so often, you know, you don't listen to recording if you get it. So I hope you do. But for those of you who are here live, we'd love to know, what is your gem or takeaway? What was your, you know, we come back to, we asked you, what's your one thing that you wanted to get out? Did you get what you wanted out of today? Okay, here's some, lots of great takeaways to start the new year. Thank you so much. The best was give what you want. Ah, beautiful. That's so great. Anybody else have a gem they want to share? Just type it in the chat. I'm not the only one struggling to manage during COVID. Yeah, that was your beautiful.
Oh, believe me, across every organization, every corporation, it is. There are some people, by the way, there are some people who are rocking it, and most of those people are introverts who just love being at home by themselves.
Yeah,
and in their own head. And the rest of us who are more social, it's a struggle, and it's a struggle. And everybody's in the same boat. It's not just, you got to know this. And there's a lot of compassion. That's what I have noticed. There's so much compassion for each other, but we have to be honest about it, and vulnerable. And I'll tell you that if nothing else comes out of this, we are going to see each other very differently when we're face to face, because there's been a whole outpouring of, oh man, I hate to say it because it's every say you hear, we literally are experiencing this all the same. That's what's crazy. It's amazing to me. It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. And Charlie says, I love being by myself until it was not a choice. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, I love my own company as well. But actually lately, I have spent, like, probably when I say lately, I mean last 3-4 weeks, I have really I've been down again. Because I've been by myself way too much, and there are people who live in my house, and I've been just way too much alone. So I've gone to the dark side a few times. Mm-hmm. Okay, beautiful. Okay, Laura says you tell us things that we probably knew already. However, it's great to have a reminder in this fun and relaxing way. Everyone needs to remind that we are human, amazing people. Yes, Laura, thank you. Tammy, stories, to make some new stories. Learning here just to get to the start line. Commit 5 minutes. Yes. And Susan says, love the concept of equanimity, which now we have the spelling. Beautiful. Thank you. So good. So good. So the challenges over the next few days are to move towards the feeling, the emotion attached to the genie question. Like, just decide to do things that will bring you towards that. But also,
shoot, sorry.
What?
I advanced the slide by accident again.
No, I did.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry, then I put it back.
That's right. And then, but on paper, one more thing before we wrap this whole thing up. Out of the whole thing, whether it's the Alive Essentials, those 4 areas, what's one part of you that you want to actually act on over the next week? Just commit to, it could be a few things, but commit to something, and just put it in the chat, because it's really important that we write stuff down. It's really important.
Sprinkle joy on everything. Yay! Joy spice. That's great.
Okay, so one commitment to yourself. This is for you. And when you write it down,
one action step.
When you write it down, you got about a 50-50 horseback ride. Nice.
Oh, you can see the chat now.
Yeah. You got a 50-50 chance you can actually do something about it if you write it down. If you tell somebody else, meaning put it in the, start writing again. If you tell somebody else, if you want to put it in the chat, you got about an 85% chance you'll do something about this. That's how this works. That's how this energy works.
Exercise every day.
Works.
Yeah. And, Ange, I would even just offer as rather than exercise, because sometimes that feels like, oh, I got to work out. Just move your body. And yes, it is a form of exercise, but just say, I'm going to move every day, which is more joyful.
And Crystal, I don't know if she's still on the call, Crystal would say, Crystal's whole messaging, and she's also a beautiful, amazing speaker, is just get to the start line, right? Yeah. That's her big thing. And she would say, move every day 20 minutes minimum. And in
Yeah.
fact, your mental and physical well-being, if you can move outside in nature, it's just
Even better.
incredible. It's incredible for your mental health right now. And of course, there's a physical health, but it's unbelievable for your mental health.
Yeah, cool. Arlene's going for a walk at noon, Monday to Friday. Yeah. See? Fantastic. Love, love, love it. See? Just one action, and that will create momentum.
Yeah.
Create more momentum for you.
Okay. Is that it? I don't know if everybody's take
Oh,
5
here's
minutes.
Claudia says, take 5 minutes to be still in the morning. I accidentally sent it as a private chat. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Thank you, Claudia. Yeah, see, just start with 5 minutes. You don't have to meditate for 2 hours. 5 minutes of pause.
Oh, the inverted mindset. Great.
Right? Start at the pause before you decide what to do. Love it. Suzanne, okay. Beautiful. Tammy, like that too. Woo! So remember as a kid when we used to go, for toboggan rides like this, right?
Oh, that's mine.
The snow burns your face, the crystals, right? What's our one action? Oh, Marianne wants to know what's our one thing, what's our first action step we're going to take?
Oh, I wrote it down. I committed that this week I'm gonna walk uphill because I've been walking on flats my dog he's not very mobile anymore. And he doesn't require as much energy, which is just, I walk on the flats now. I need some uphill. That's what I can get to.
So a walk with Gabe and one without. Yeah, I hear you. And my one thing is going to be to really just continue to commit to the rituals, the AM, PM. That's my one thing, just to really start and end my day grounded and calm. That's my one thing. When can we do this again? Someone asked it, said, I'm like, in the past, we often will offer, in January, we're doing this big course and this big class. And we didn't, this was it. This was sort of our offering and gift to you to close your year. And we're not sure, I know that some people have said, could we continue? Could we do live calls? Could we meet together? And we'll certainly think about it. If you have something that you're really craving, let us know, and maybe we'll offer it. We haven't really planned something for January ourselves, but I know that you're right, meeting together and having accountability does get you to move on it. So maybe we'll create something, maybe we won't, but if you want something from us, let us know.
Yeah.
Great. Marianne says yours is gratitude focus.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then, so I'm going to straighten my crown. Maybe all wear our crowns straight, or king and queens, or your Rudolph hats. Anyways, thanks for being here, everybody.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. Thanks for being so active in the chat. That's really, really important. And we'll keep everybody posted on what we're doing and offering in the new year. So have an amazing holiday season as best as we can.
Happy Hanukkah. If you celebrate Hanukkah, Hanukkah starts today.
Yeah. Okay.
Holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Our love to you.
Oh, we'll be sending you the recording. Feel free to read it again or read it again. No, read it again.
Read the recording.
Yeah, read the recording. There's something new you can learn. New trick for 2021. Have an amazing holiday season and stay safe. I mean, we still have to stay safe for the next.
Stay safe. Yes.